Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast, and happy Friday. I'm Kevin Sully. He is Gordon Mack. Subscribe if you haven't yet to the FloTrack podcast YouTube page. Get that workout Wednesday up on the FloTrack YouTube page that you can check out with NC State. Also, all the great content that we've been churning out as we now headlong into the outdoor season. Gordon, you put together this week's pickup challenge for the Bermuda Games. Can you walk people through what they're picking, what they can win?
Well, before we get into that, I need to apologize to the people of the podcasts and to everyone around the world. I have been delayed in coming and returning the NCAA track and field show to the YouTube channel, to the FloTrack page. It's been a few more weeks than I expected. I was going to do it this week. I never did it. So it's okay, though. The season is still young on the outdoor side. I will bring back the show. It's going to be bigger, badder, crazier than ever. And we're just going to start it anew next week. Hold me to it. If I don't do it by next week, I need you to come over to my house, and I need you to physically force me to film the show. So that's going to be the ultimatum. But
Me
I'm going to do
or
it.
the listeners
NCAA track and
go to your house.
Listeners, whoever. If you live within 50 miles of the Austin, Texas area, I'll tell you where I live. You can come and you can force me to do it, and you could be my
or
first
you have
guest.
to do a live one. You have to do a live one. You have to show up at wherever producer Colt is doing improv that week, and you have to do a live NCAA show. I got to apologize too. No music. I mean, it's not really my fault. It's above my my pay grade, but I'm a big music fan, and we didn't have one in the beginning. Let's see. I didn't bother you about the NCAA show because I figured you were still recovering from the NC State workout. That was a lot of pressure. Took a lot of time. I know the feedback has been great, almost universally positive. Some questions about your biking ability have come to the surface, but I was laying off of you because of that.
Yeah, if you watch the last rep of the workout Wednesday, I decided to keep the full footage in, and there's like a good 5 to 10 second moment where you can tell that I'm struggling to keep up with their pace, and the camera shot kind of goes down towards the wheels of the bike. I thought it makes you feel like you're there. It's not all sunshine and roses. I'm not cutting out the fat. Sometimes you got to show a little bit of the fat, and that's what I did in that last rep. But
well done.
there was people on the internet were saying like I almost was running into them, like I was potentially gonna like crash into Tui and end her career. But no, I was fine. I knew what I was doing.
No, you were
People
fine.
don't know this. The bike that I was on was a bike that was designed for like a 5'4" female. Okay, so the seat was extremely low. So I felt like I was riding like a clown bike. Like
You looked like you were
was
too,
very
as someone
hard.
who was there.
Yeah.
But at no point did I feel like you were out of control. You've done a bunch of these. You were at the appropriate distance. Nobody was worried about it. I think they're just putting together the fact that you got in a bike accident with the fact that you're on a bike at NC State. People got worried. It just shows people have two events in their head, and they need to link them, regardless of what order those two things happened in. Speaking of rankings, I updated the pro rankings on the site. I'm going to do a pro show today for the running events. So I got all the running events, world top 10, 100 through the 10,000, both hurdles, the steeplechase. It's all there. And let me tell you, Gordon, it was difficult. Who's your seventh best 10,000 meter runner in the world right now for the men and the women? It's tough. It's tough to sort out. A lot of shrugs.
Well, while you've been working on these world rankings, I secretly, without telling anyone, I've been working on some U.S. rankings. So you're doing top 10 in the world. I have created top 12 in the U.S. So give some love to some people who aren't, going to be top 10 in the world, but they're pretty good in the U.S. And we're going to have U.S. rankings, which I think are going to debut either next week or the week after. Still waiting on a few more data points, but came up with a new algorithm to make my US rankings. And it might be a little awkward because the world order might be a little bit different from the US order, but hey, it's fine. Not
Well,
everyone,
just know that the
hey,
world is me. I'm
Fred
changing the
Curley,
title. It's Kevin
yeah,
ranking and Gordon ranking. That's what it is. It's not world and US. It's Kevin and Gordon. There, here we got a shot. Let's throw this up there. People watching can see Gordon displaying expert technique. But look at how small the bike is, folks.
yeah. I'm not even looking in the camera. I'm just like, I assume it's good shot, you know?
Hmm.
I'm looking
How
forward and just filming backwards.
is it interesting to look back on that shot and know that right now you could not do any of those activities pictured? You couldn't be on a bike. You
Yes.
couldn't hold it. You couldn't hold your phone with your right arm
Yeah.
because you have no use of your right arm.
Yeah.
Tough.
You don't realize how good you have it until it's gone, right? Isn't that the phrase? You don't know you're
Yeah.
living in the good old days until they're
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway, my US rankings are coming out soon as well as the
Pickup
NCAA show. It's all
contest.
coming. Let's talk about the
Give us
pickup
the
contest.
pickup
Pickup
Yeah, let's
contest.
do it.
We got the QR code. It's live on the site. Click the QR code if you want to play the pickup contest for this week. So you only have 24 hours to get your picks in. I believe the deadline is somewhere around 1 o'clock Central Time, basically when
Yeah.
the Bermuda Games meet starts. But here we got the three questions. First question is who's going to win the men's 100 meter? We got all the people on the entry list there. Second question is who's going to win the women's 100 meter? And then the third question is predicting Grant Holloway's 110 hurdle time. And we give you like a
Mhm.
range, like sub 13, 13 to 13:10, 13:10 to 13:20, and over 13:20.
Yeah.
So those are three questions. Start with the men's 100 meter winner. No, we previewed this on Wednesday, but here's the thing: the question just got a lot easier because a bunch of these 100 meter guys have scratched,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So who's actually left in the men's 100?
Well, let's look at this. Let's just go down the list here. You have Ronnie Baker as a choice. He is not listed in the men's 100 anymore. The second name you have, if we could pull that back up, the pickup contest list there. Colt, pull that back up, please. Yeah, Kenny Bednarik is a scratch. Johan Blake is still there. Bracy is a scratch. Knighton, Lyles, and then other is still entered. So basically, you have three scratches from that group. So I'm giving you guys a hint here. You can go between Lyles, Knighton, Blake, or other because Bednarik, Baker, and Bracy, unfortunately, all scratched. To me, that makes Lyles a big favorite. I was leaning Lyles
Yeah.
anyway, and then the absence of three of the top competitors means Lyles is the big favorite. So maybe everybody will get that one, and then you go down to the women where we have. I went with Tiana Daniels. You went with Javian Oliver.
Yeah.
Let me look at the women's list here, real quick. Make sure fewer scratches on the women's side. Gabby Thomas, Cambria Sturgis, Natasha Morrison from Jamaica, Kayla White, Kiara Parker. This one is harder. That's like a bump up in difficulty level. I like this. You get the first one, but then the second one gets a little harder. And the third one, Grant Holloway's time, you have, sub 13. Then you got what 13:01 to 13:10, 13:11 to 13:20, and then 13:21 and above are the choices. I got him in that. I got him in 13 teens, so I'm in that 13:11 to 13:20 range.
Yeah. I'm same with you. 13 teens. However, it would be wild if Grant Holloway's like, screw it. I'm running sub 13 race one. Let's
Right.
go.
Yeah.
But you don't know the weather conditions. Again, there's no reason to be running sub 13 on April 9th unless,
Yeah.
unless it's a magical year, which maybe it is. We'll see. So,
Could be. Could be. All right. So that's the FloTrack pickup contest for this week. You get the QR code there. Get them all right. Enter to win. All that fun stuff. I guess you and I only have. Wait, you. What did you go for Holloway again? What was your prediction?
13:10 to 13:20, same as you.
Okay, so we only have one. So basically, all comes down to the women's 100
Yeah.
in deciding the difference between me and you. So really, it comes down to the Javian Oliver, Tiana Daniels battle there. in the women's 100. But hey, no guarantee it's just going to be those two. That's a wide open race. We're going to talk about some of the other Bermuda Games races that we didn't get a chance to talk about later on in the pod. That's the high hurdles for both. I want to talk about the women's quarter, women's 8, men's 15. Also, we should mention before we go any further, we have a bonus pod that's already been recorded for subscribers to the YouTube page, which is going to come out on Sunday. So you and I talked about our biggest, most confident bets for 2022 World Championships. And that episode is going to come out Sunday at 9 a.m. So if you're not a member, become a member, you get that bonus pod.
So one of our producers, Travis, is trying to rub a little insult with injury. I was struggling to keep up with the NC State women. Meanwhile, he was up here going stride for stride with Ryan Bailey.
What year was this?
Here's the thing. Travis clearly has a legit bike in this situation. Like, that's a real bike. And also, Travis is a biker. So, like, you put those two together, I could keep up with Usain Bolt, you know? I'm just saying, you know, it's not easy. It looks easier than it is. That's all I'm saying. It looks, and he's not trying to film him. Where's the camera? Where's the camera?
No, I think the camera's in his left hand. Yeah.
Oh, that is good.
He's holding
good work. Good work. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, keeping up with Ryan Bailey is pretty hard. It's a little different than keeping up with two. Hey, I got dropped by Wayne and Kaladi on a tempo run, so I'm not gonna make fun of anybody who gets dropped by. They go way faster than you think, and the moment you stop for something to get a shot or to adjust some equipment, they're freaking gone. They are gone, and they're not slowing down. So it is very, very, very difficult. Yeah, shout out to Travis. That's a good camera positioning too, doing 150s. All right, so we thought. Go ahead.
I was going to say something, but it's fine. No, forget it. It's fine.
No, you stopped the whole show. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. What were we talking about? I forget. Travis came in hot with his. I can keep up with Ryan Bailey, and you can't. What were we talking about? I forget what we were talking about.
We're entering day 3 of the mystery of the 988.
Oh yes,
because
mystery.
Every time we think it's settled, and then there's a plot twist every single day. So yesterday, or like 2 nights ago, I guess Wednesday night, we record it on the pod on Wednesday. And one of the things we talk about is the time is entered on World Athletics, right? And it's listed there on the top list. But then on Wednesday night, I go and I'm pulling it up because I'm doing the rankings and I'm looking at who's where. And I don't see the 988 from Elias Garcia anymore. Remember, this was the time that was recorded last weekend that people were wondering about because previously his PB was 10.16. And then I see that it's gone, that it's no longer there on World Athletics. So I said, all right. So they were late putting it up, and they finally put it up, and then it gets taken down. And then we get information from timing company. Milesplit reached out to the timing company, and they said that they did have issues with that event, and their solution was to label it NT no time, which is what I'm assuming was the reason why World Athletics took the time down, is because literally the timer's saying they had issues, so you can't have the time. Direct Athletics never had it listed officially. They always had the no time. So I don't know what happened in between that gap, but another twist and turn in this 100-meter saga, Gordon.
Well, the biggest turn of this all is that did he just go pro off of a no time? That's crazy. He parlayed a no time into a pro contract. That's kind of wild.
Well, you brought up a good point last show, which is pro contracts can take on a lot of different forms. So you don't really know what type of contract it is. We don't know if it was contingent on the time being verified. We don't know if it was contingent on him running that sort of performance again. You don't know if it's a huge deal, a medium deal, a small deal. But you'd think the people, the track world is pretty small, and the people involved in the contracts are well versed in the sport. So you'd think that they would have known, hey, this 88 may not be official. Now maybe they're like, all right, that's cool, that's fine. It wasn't official, but we still believe in this athlete going forward. But yeah, I thought the same thing. If the reason the contract was signed was because they thought the performance was legit, and then 2 days later it gets taken down. That's a head scratcher to me.
Travis just letting us know that on Wednesday, Garcia said on Twitter or Instagram or somewhere, official announcement coming. But now, nothing new. That was on Wednesday, and that since the time has been removed.
Okay.
So,
And I think the next time we're going to see him is Mount Sac. So not this weekend, but the next weekend. I thought he was planning on racing on this coming weekend, so today or tomorrow. But I think that's not going to happen. So we should see him at Mount Sac if he's running at Mount Sac. And again, everybody's going to be waiting to see that mark. What do you think the process? Let me ask you this: if you were World Athletics, what would be your process for verifying times? Now, I'm sure they have a very stringent process. That's my belief. Again, track and field very numbers heavy, but like when you get if you're the governing body and you get a performance like this, what do you think the right steps are to take after that?
well, first you need to know. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm sure there's like a certification of like track and field timers, I'm assuming, where they
Right.
know marks coming from these set of timers is like 100% verified. Like, when flash results gives you a result, it's
Yeah.
legit and they would notify you if it's different. But then obviously, you don't want to say only these timers times count because something can happen at a high school meet or at a lower key college meet. And not all the mainstream timers are going to be there and other people can tell time as well. So in a situation like here, I think they would have to reach out to the timer and ask them what's going on. But I think it's even easier for them to take off the result because the timer themselves took away the result. This isn't like the
Yeah.
timer is holding on to the 988 and World Athletics is like, I don't believe you. Like the timer themselves took them off the
Yeah.
list. So World Athletics has no reason to keep the mark, especially because the timer who was there was like, yeah, don't use that mark. So I think it would have
Yeah.
been more complicated if the timer was also
Insisted.
still insisting that it was 988 and the World Athletics is like, we don't believe you. That's when it would get weird.
My question though, at what point do they inquire? Say the timer insisted it was true, but at what point do they inquire? If he goes 998, is there a conversation about it? 10 flat?
Uh like what time do they inquire about?
With anybody, not just with him or any event. How fast do you have to run before people start following up and asking questions? Because you
Well, I'm
look at
guessing a
some
world
of these
standard,
databases of
right? That would probably
times.
be the only
Yeah,
a
you,
world
you look at some of
standard.
these databases of historical times and they have sections sometimes for doubtful timing or
Yeah.
suspicious mark. They have all these ways of quantifying it, but you're saying your standard would be a world standard. That's where you'd say, all right, we need to
Yeah, but
figure this
even
out
then, it's only like
for certain people.
it would be on yeah, it's on World Athletics if I think the only time they would actually really legitimately verify the mark is if he was
Mhm.
submitted to run at one of their meets under that mark.
Okay.
And then they're going to be like, all right, we need to confirm that this 988 is real. But you don't
Yeah.
need to confirm a 988 is real if I could go out there and hand time myself and run 988 and announce to the world I ran 988. World Athletics doesn't need to come and like talk to the person who held the stopwatch and confirm. They'd be like, all right, live your truth,
Live
bro.
your dream.
You ran 988. Have
Yeah.
have fun with that. But if then I am saying you must allow me into the world championships in Eugene, then they're gonna be like, all right, let's see the time. Let's see the
Yeah.
actual. Let's talk to the time.
Yeah.
But I don't
So,
think there's no need to like verify marks that really have no impact on other people because it's not a world record and it's not a qualifying spot that the person's
mhm,
taking yet.
mhm.
So
Looking at the Mount Sac entries, just not this weekend, but the next weekend, I don't think he's listed in the Elite 100, which is going to be good. That's going to be, it's been a top flight meet for years. Last year, a lot of the pros went there, so it's not a surprise that he would not be in that section just because the interest with everybody else. everybody else. But I mean, everybody still wants to see what he's going to run. What's the resolution here? What do you think he runs?
I think this should be a. We should make this a contest. I'm gonna change this to a pickup for next week,
Yeah.
predicting his next result because that's really hard to predict. I mean, I probably predict he runs like a 10-18 or something like that. He's gonna
Hmm.
run in the 10 teens if I had to predict.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of pressure on his next result, so I think it'll be slower than normal.
Hmm.
And then I think the result after that, I think he'll end the year as like a 10:07, 10:08 guy. That's what I think.
That's a good year then. A couple
It's
years
a
ago,
good
he could
year.
run
No,
10
exactly.
threes, 10 fours. That'd be
Exactly.
huge if he can run.
Yeah.
Even improving off the 10-1-6 would be impressive. Travis is not on the college entries either. So man, I just want to see him race. I want to see him race. That'd be the worst resolution to all this if we don't see him again.
Well, he's gonna race. He's not retiring on April 1st. Like he's gonna race.
I want to see it. I want to see it soon. I want to see it close enough to where we can have a good comparison to the 988 run. As you said before, most interesting April track story in history. It just continues. Time goes on, time goes off. Time happened, time didn't happen.
If you wanted to milk this for the most like entertainment value for the people who follow the sport,
Yeah.
it would for him to not run until USA's and then go to USA's and run. And
Yeah.
like every time he qualified for the next round, everyone would be like, wait a minute, holy crap, this could be real. And there's like that buildup of like, oh crap, he's into the next round. Oh wait, he's in the semis. Oh, now he's in the final. Oh my goodness, and it would be very entertaining because he could get in on his 10-16 or whatever,
Yeah.
as a qualifier. So that would be fun.
It would be interesting because if he was entered, all the track nerds would be super interested in him, and everybody else
Yeah,
would be interested in like what's Noah Lyles gonna do? What's Fred Curley gonna
yeah, yeah.
do? What's Ronnie Baker gonna
It's like,
do?
no,
And
I want to
everyone's,
know.
wait, why
It's
are
all
you
about
here?
lane 7.
Yeah, I'm here to see
Yeah,
Garcia, see if that 988 is legit. Like, what? There's no 988 this year. No, no, no. Let me explain it to you. For about a 48-hour period, the track world was up in arms trying to figure out if this guy actually ran it. One guy on
exactly.
YouTube had a stopwatch and put it to it, and it looked like it was a 10-2. And then where Athletics had it, and then they didn't, and the timer said it didn't count. It would be a track nerd's basically dream if that happened. I
It's
think he
like
should
that
just
meme of it's like that meme of the guy talking to his girlfriend at a baseball game with like shades
yeah,
on, and
yeah,
she's like not
yeah,
interested. You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
He's very
It's like
animated,
it's
and
like
she's like, whatever. Yeah,
he's very animated. She's like, "What's going on?" Yeah, that's
yeah.
basically the Elias Garcia story.
Explaining the Elias Garcia story to people not into track. Uh, okay,
Yeah,
let's
this
talk
guy.
about
This is it right here. Put that up.
yeah.
Cool.
Well, there's the other one with the guys at the club too, right? Like, or it looks like he's a dance club and
Yeah,
he's just
that's
going on and on talking to the girl.
yeah. That's Elias Garcia fans.
All right, Bermuda Games. We didn't get a chance to talk about the high hurdles. We talked a little bit about Grant and what you think he can run. I mean, here's the thing: big favorite in this race. His top American rivals, not even rivals, the next best Americans aren't in here, i.e., Trey Cunningham, Devin Allen, Jared Eaton, Daniel Roberts, Aaron Mallett, et cetera, et cetera. Internationally, Damian Thomas has the next best entry time, 13:11. Um, you're picking Grant to be 13:1 to 13:2. Why are you picking that?
Yeah, this race isn't about the field. It's about Grant and the time. And I think it's about looking at this race as the kind of setting the stage for what type of season we're going to see from him. I think we can all
Mhm.
assume he's going to have a good season or great season. Um, he's definitely not going to have a worse season. He's not on the downward of his trajectory. But the question is, where will he start? And so,
Mhm.
did you do this research? But have you looked at his previous season openers?
I can tell you some of them. Do you want me to
Believe it.
tell you some of them?
Yeah. Tell me some of his previous
Well,
season openers.
13:14 in 2021. That was with a plus 3.3, but I'll just 13:35 in 2020, 2019 13:28, 2018, 13:45. I'll go back to 17, give you one more. And then 17 was 13:51.
Who holds the world record again? I should know this.
Aries Merritt, 1280.
Yeah. I want to see what he. I always spell his name wrong on my search. What year
Aries
did he
Merritt
break
had a
it?
2012. His season that year
20.
was
Yeah,
insane.
2012.
Absolutely
Okay,
insane.
so 2012, the year he broke the world record. He broke
Mhm.
it in the final race of
Yeah.
the year too. So he ran a lot of 110 hurdles. He didn't break it till September 7th, but he opened his
Yeah.
season on April 21st, where he ran two back-to-back races, and he ran 13:25.
Mhm.
He ran 13:25 this season opener, and then went on to
Yeah.
run 12:80. He did run 12:99 though on May 4th. So he did
Yeah.
break 13 when wind aided, albeit, but on May
Yeah.
4th.
Read his whole
So
season. People may not know this. Read Merritt's whole 2012 with the high hurdles. It's crazy.
okay, so 13:25s, then 12:99. He ran 12:99 and 13:03 on the same day. Then he ran 13:21, 13:26. Now we're into June.
Watch this.
12:96, 13:13, 13:01, 12:93, 13:14, 12:93, 12:93, 13:07, 12:94, 12:92, 12:95, 12:97, 12:80. The the stretch
Yes.
of yeah, so from yeah, he went a lot of 12s. How many 12s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 12s.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He was on a
10
complete
out of
roll, and now
yeah.
he did have a big jump up to get that world record, right? Because he goes from 92 down to 80. But the amount of times he ran 92, 93, 94, you knew, all right, something is going to break at a certain point. He's going to get
Yeah.
the perfect conditions, and he can go faster than that. And he did it in a big way. I don't know if that's how
I mean
Holloway
his
gets the record. Holloway might get the record. I mean, Holloway's a guy who runs amazing times in semis. So who knows if that's going to be the pattern for Holloway. Um, but I do think, yeah, we will know early on where Grant's going this year for sure. And that's why I think in the teens, he's on track.
yeah. So
Also,
yeah, I
Holloway.
think if he's running 13 teens, that's like it's setting up. So we'll see.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was what, 13, 14 last year in his opener. So here's the other thing with Grant Gordon. We talk about his win streak all the time in the 60
Yeah,
hurdles. He's on a losing streak in the high hurdles. He's on a one race losing streak in the high hurdles.
that's true.
So he probably wants to get back to his winning ways in the high hurdles. Hasn't lost in the 60 in since 2014 in a final, right? But in the outdoor high hurdles, he's 0 for his last one. Not good. Got to get that right.
So he's like in last place, is what you're saying. If he's 0
I'm
for
saying
1, that's dead
he's got
last.
something to, he's got something to prove. I'm just saying if I was doing the post race interview, that's what I would ask him. How does it feel to finally get a
Be able
win?
to snap you to finally get a win. How many months has he gone without a win in the 110
Well,
hurdles?
yeah,
It's been almost a half a year.
yeah. August. His last win was August 4th in the semis. Now, if you want to say when was his last final win, July 6th.
Wow.
That's 9 months
Grant,
basically.
disappointing. Grant's been
Yeah.
having a disappointing career so
Is
far
this
when you really look
is this
at
a
it.
must
When you
is this a
zoom
must
in,
win race for Grant?
I think it is. I think this could be a
Win or go
make or
home?
break moment. And if one could be a fluke, but two is a habit,
Yeah.
and three is an addiction. So
Yeah. What? Is that a
you
saying?
better be careful. I just made that up. One's a fluke, two's a habit, three's an addiction. It's a good idea. Is that that might be kind of true.
Uh all right, women's high hurdles. We get to see somebody who has an impressive win streak as well, and somebody who hasn't run the high hurdles since uh, the Olympics, and that's Jasmine Camacho Quinn, who last year went undefeated and didn't get talked about as much as she probably should have, just because the low hurdle races were crazy. You had Safan Hassan doing triple. You had Elaine Thompson Raw running historic times. People did not talk as much about the high hurdles on the women's side as they should have. But Camacho Quinn's season was really good. She runs that 12:26 in the semis in Tokyo. 12:20 is a world record. And then she cruises to the win and gets the gold in 12:37, but hasn't run a hurdle race since then. Has run some indoor races. Um, she is in a pretty good field here, though. You have Cunningham, who comes off an indoor medal. You have Clemens, Brissett in there as well, too. So some people who are legit finalists or finalist contenders for world championships and Olympics. But Camacho Quinn, if she's the 2021 Camacho Quinn, is going to be just fine in this field. And I mean, you could have both high hurdle records go down this year based on how fast Holloway and Camacho Quinn ran in semis in 2021.
Yeah, this race also again. I mean, Christina Clemens is probably the closest challenger. I would assume maybe Cunningham, but I would put a
Yeah.
Clemens. I mean, Akila Jones and Erica Bogard, they're heptathletes, I believe.
Yeah.
Is Akila Jones
Yep.
a heptathlete? I think she is. So like, the field isn't truly like the best of the best. And I was thinking, why was Jasmine Camacho Quinn not as uh, kind of flew under the radar? Obviously, you have like the idea that there was the Sydneys out there and other top athletes who are doing great things, but I think people had yet to kind of pass the torch from Kenny Harrison to Jasmine Camacho Quinn. I think people all just assume Kenny Harrison is the star of the 110 of the star of the 100 hurdles, and they weren't ready to realize that no, there's a new star. Like Camacho Quinn has overtaken Kenny Harrison, while Kenny Harrison still is in like the back half of her prime and the current world record holder. There's a current
Yeah.
athlete who is going to be the favorite every time she steps on the track, and that's Camacho Quinn. So I think that's also why that just you're always 1 year late to recognizing someone is good. Like, that's how it is in a lot of sports, right? You're overlooked the year you win, and then once you win, then you're now noticed. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think that's probably the big reason why. So
Yeah. Well, that was her
I mean,
first
look,
win
yeah,
over her at the
against her,
Olympics.
yeah,
See, and with sports, a lot of times people focus in on what the presumed favorite is doing wrong, and we don't pay attention to what the person who's pulling the quote unquote upset is doing right. And you're right, it was right in front of our faces all year. It's like Camacho Quinn's putting out a pretty crazy season here with all these victories. And then it took the 12:26 to be like, oh, yeah, it's not just someone doing something wrong. It's just she's historically good right now. And we don't know, what 2022 is going to hold. I just think last year she didn't really get her due for going undefeated in her event. And for the reasons you mentioned, and also, yeah, you go event by event. There were just big superstars in every single event and putting in big performances. You got Thompson on the 1 and the 2, Miller Weibo in the 4, a Thingmo in the 8, 15 Kipyegon, and then you have Safan Hassan doing the triple. You got Muhammad and McLaughlin in the low hurdles. It's on and on and on and on. There was no real on the women's side. There was no real event where you're like, there's no star power here. That just didn't happen in 2022. So here's her chance, though, right? She's on the radar now. People are going to be talking world record when she enters races now. It's like, oh man, can she like if she drops a 12:3 or 12:4 in one of these opening meets on for all of June? That's what we're going to be talking about when she enters race. Hey, could this be the time? Could we see a sub 12:20 because she's done it before?
yeah, agreed. I don't think a 12-4 though will get you thinking that. If things she opens up with
Well,
like a 12-3, then you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
if that's for where it starts. Well, last year, let's see, 12:47 was the opener, She got down to 26. Yeah, maybe something quicker than
Yeah.
that. But she was what? She was 12:32 in mid-April last year. She was really good. I also have my eye on the women's four. I think the women's four could be interesting in Bermuda. Shrika Jackson returning to the 400. So she goes 400, then down to the one and the two, back to the four. Um, McLeod of Jamaica, finalist in the 400. And then the U.S. is going with Irby, Jonathas, Whitney, and Abbott. I'm really curious to see Shrika Jackson run a quarter after she spent last year focusing on the one and the two. The parallels between her and Fred Curley are pretty clear. Obviously, we saw what he did in the quarter this year. I want to see what Jackson can do in a real race, coming back to the quarter after spending so much time running fast times in the one and the two.
I want to see if one of these U.S. athletes can just take the reins with the women's 400 because I just feel like the women's individual 400 we have moments of greatness,
Mhm.
but we don't have like a continued like every time you step on the track I'm running 49s, right? The great 400-meter runners aren't running the 400, right? We know
Mhm.
like a Thing Mo, the two 400-meter hurdlers. Now we have Allison Felix, but Allison Felix is at the end of her line. We don't even know what type of shape she's in. I don't think Allison
Mhm.
Felix. I kind of feel like she's kind of retired, not officially retired, but kind of retired, right? I don't think she's running 49s this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think she is. And then Quinera Hayes, she's like the next one, the next one in the running, and she's run 49 a couple times. But Quinera Hayes, when it came to like the world final, wasn't able to put together 100%. And then after Hayes, it's just like a drop off. We have Jonathas, who had a good run 2 years ago. You have Felix
Yeah.
Francis. You have Lena Irby. So you have all these different women interchangeable who
Mhm.
have moments but don't have haven't had the staying power. So I just
Mhm.
think maybe this could be the start of something of a good run for one of these women, because there's a lot of potential. I mean, Lena Irby could be one. Jonathas could do it. Um, I just hope that we
Yeah.
see that and we see like, all right, I'm coming out here. I'm running 50.04 and I'm ready to roll. And now it's time for the Irby show or the Jonathas show. That's what I'm hoping out of this race is that we get a new star in the 400.
First of all, you saying that you don't think Felix can run 49s again is giving me great flashbacks of 2021 when we did the whole routine where you doubted her, and then finally came around to the point that you were wrong, and then she went on to get a medal. I do agree with you. The U.S. is waiting for the next 400-meter superstar, and on the men's and the women's side, oftentimes that person is young in the quarter. It's the
Yeah.
college sophomore with that breakout performance, or even college freshman. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is because when someone runs a really good time in college, but then stays the same for a couple years, you tend to think, all right, since it's the quarter, maybe they hit their ceiling already. So I don't know who that next person would be coming up. I almost tend to think
Yeah.
we don't know, we may not even know who they are yet. It may be someone who breaks out this season outdoors or the coming years. I don't know. Is there someone on
Yeah.
the college side that it could be? I'm
I mean,
because when
Kennedy Simon is a top time right now. She ran 50.68. She's born in
mhm.
2000, but no, there's not really. There hasn't been. I mean, it's a thing. Mo and Sydney McLaughlin. It's just that they're choosing not to run the 400. So we have the athlete. They're just like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna do something else.
they're
So
just
it's
too
not
good.
like
They're just too good
they're
for
just too
that
good.
event.
They're too good for the event. They're like
Yeah,
they overrun the
yeah.
event. Yeah. I mean,
In the
Alexis
chat, yeah,
Holmes, she's run digs, but I don't
yeah.
know. Just
It's the difference between going from 49 high down to 49 low
Yeah.
with the potential of, but to get into the Miller Weibo zone, you got to go into the 48s. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm just thinking who can get into that lower section of 49. And it's not even from 49 high. It's almost like from 50 low down to 49 is where the real cutoff was. Because what did Irby ran that year? 49.7 in NCAAs? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
I think she ran
Yeah.
49.7 that
In the
year
rain.
in Eugene. And you're like, all right, but um, is that still, that might still be the PB. 49.8. Yeah, it's tough. There's a reason why people hit that wall. It's tough to go from 49.8 down to 49.4, but that makes a huge bit of difference in that event. So we'll see. I think
Here's a
that's a good
question.
point, though. You're right. There are U.S. 400 meter runners who can run 49 low. They're just not in the 400, which is weird.
I feel like we're not going to, I think from now till the Olympics in 2024, we will go 3 more years, maybe 4 more years, without having a 400-meter runner be the best 400-meter runner in the U.S. Like, I don't think there's going to be, in the next 4 years, any woman who focuses on the 400 who will be faster than a Thing or Sydney
Mm-hmm.
for the next 4 years, which is
You know
kind of
what's going
crazy.
to be?
You'd think you'd want like there to be like your star 400-meter runner, and then we get to add a Thing,
Yeah,
add
right,
Dalila,
right.
add Sydney. But no, it's like we have a Thing in Sydney. Now we gotta use this 400-meter runner. We don't want to
Yeah.
be the 400 meters should be the foundation, and right now it's not that, you know. But things can happen. People have breakout years, and we'll see.
So it'll be fun at USA's because Muhammad said she's thinking of running that event and not the hurdles because she has the bye. So we'll get to test this hypothesis, right? You get to throw one of these women into it. Now, what's the flip side of that? We don't get a McLaughlin Muhammad matchup, which are amazing and they're always amazing. And as track fans, you got to treasure those. So that's kind of a bummer. But from a curiosity standpoint of how the US 400 looks on the women's side as a whole, that'll be an interesting test. I think Mo would run a faster quarter because she's put out faster times, but Muhammad's certainly good enough to do to finish in the top three. I don't think she's going to double. I haven't looked at the schedule. I'm guessing the double would be out, but just for that one race, it'd be fun to put her in there and just see where she measures up to these other women. Um, it's all it's all cyclical with this stuff. U.S. dominates 4 meter hurdles. Okay, well the 400 is a bit down. They have a transformational 800-meter runner. Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine like U.S. has had good women's 800-meter runners in the past, but like Mo is just like on such another level right now. It's incredible to see. You just kind of take for granted. Oh, she won the gold medal as a teenager. Like, that's crazy.
Got a note from All in the Game. Kendall Ellis should have been the next great U.S. 400-meter runner since running that 49.99 at 22 years old, still only 26 years old. Well, that's the thing. She runs 49.99 at 22, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden, 4 years later, and she hasn't improved that mark.
and I don't
I mean,
think.
she's
Yeah,
run well. Like 53 is good, 50.1 is good, 50 the previous year. But we haven't seen
yeah,
like a Shawnee Miller Weibo type show up and be like, all right, I'm a 49 mid consistent.
yeah. Can you pull up the all-time U.S. list, all-time U.S. outdoor women's 400 list? Because it's no one's fault, and people pull out these individual athletes and say, "Oh, they never pan out. They didn't pan out." With the 400, it's the nature of the event because we have so much evidence of these people running fast at an early age in the quarter and then staying put. So you have Sana Richards Ross 48.7 with the American record. Valerie Briscoe Hooks also sub 49, but then that's it. You have Cheesebro at 49.05, Felix 49.26, Joe Mouse Clark 49.40, McCrory at 49.48, Those are the 6 women who have run under 49.5. Now, Thing Mo has run 49.57. But I mean, then you scroll down and just look at how many women, if you keep going, look how many people are going to be jammed in between like 49.5 and 50 flat. It's just incredible how many people can get in that range. But it's rarefied air if you can get under 49.5. Yeah, 26 women have run sub 50 for the US.
Wow, Sydney's only on 50.0. Interesting.
Well, how many times has she run a straight up quarter?
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think it's
Well,
interesting.
yeah. This list would obviously grow if the current era, the women you're talking about, took the quarter seriously. Men's 400. I'm excited to see Crying James got a medal last year. One of the cool stories of the games, the comeback. So that was fun to see with him. And on the men's side for the U.S., you kind of say the same thing. Like, yeah, you got um, Norman, Cherry, Curley, those 3 guys, but Curley may not even run the event. Norman struggled in the back half of last year. Michael Cherry won the Diamond League, so he's solid, but hasn't really had that big breakthrough, that big moment. That 43-second clocking that would put him into that elite tier. So you're kind of waiting for the U.S. Hey, are they going to get somebody else? Obviously, Randolph Ross is running the collegiate season, so we'll see him later on. Is there another person that can come in and shake this event up?
I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
I want to know an
I
answer to
feel
that question,
like
Gordon.
I don't know. When I think of 400 meter runners, I think that what I'm about to say doesn't make any sense. So I'm not even going to say it.
No, say it. That's the best stuff. Because then I try to translate
No,
it for people.
it makes no sense at all. So I'm not going to say it. I don't know. What was the
Press
question
one in
again?
the
What we trying
chat
to?
if you. No. Stop. Press one in the chat if you want to hear Gordon say what he said doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make it. I'm not going to say it
and
because it doesn't make
I'm
sense.
not, and don't press any other number if you don't want to hear him say it.
I'm not going to say it.
Just start it. I'll just
Uh,
stop you. Start saying the words and then I'll yell stop if it's bad, and then
no.
we'll just edit that
What
part
was
out.
your
No,
question? I don't even know. Like what?
there wasn't
I'm
even
getting a
really a
little. I'm
question.
getting a little brain fog right now. To be honest.
There wasn't really. I was just drawing a comparison between what we talked about with the women in the quarter in the U.S. and the men with uh, some questions about who the next person could be.
I mean, the next person's Ross. I mean, the way he ran indoors, he was attacking an all-time mark. He didn't. He came up short, but he was close.
Yeah,
He's coming off a 43-second last year. I think
yeah.
Randolph Ross is the guy. Also, he has the greatest birthday of all time, 01
Mm.
01 That's pretty damn
Oh
cool.
wow, I didn't know that.
Born January 1st, 2001. Very easy to
Nice. Should
remember.
have
What
asked him
year were you
about
born?
that.
111. Triple ones. Um,
We're getting speaking of ones,
triple
we're getting a
ones.
lot in the chat, so you need to share what you were going to say that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, the people have spoken. We respond to their comments. What were you going to say?
There are 2 types of 400-meter runners out there.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. I'll
There,
tell you when I'm
there
out.
era. There's always like there's okay. So we go through eras, right? We have
Yeah.
eras like an era is like a 6-year run, right?
Okay, I'm with you. Good. We're good. We're on track.
And a low percent of that we have an era. There's a very small percentage that are LaShawn Merritt. And LaShawn Merritt
Right.
is like, I'm a stud. I'm going to make a world final. I can medal any given year. I just show up and I am great, right? And
Yep.
then the other type, in my mind, I think like, are you a LaShawn Merritt 400-meter runner, or are
Mhm.
you a Tony McQuay? To me, the Tony McQuay is I can run 44 seconds. I can give you a good 4x4 split, but I'm not going to win a medal. So I look at our current field. People thought Michael Norman was a LaShawn Merritt, but Norman might be becoming more of a Tony McQuay. Michael Cherry, he's still a Tony McQuay in my mind. Maybe he becomes a LaShawn Merritt, but he's still a Tony McQuay. Noah Williams, Bryce Dedman, Trevor Stewart, they're all Tony McQuays. Randolph Ross right now, I'm leaning towards LaShawn. He's a LaShawn Merritt, but we'll see. Fred Curley, he's a unicorn, so I'm not going to categorize him because he's abandoned the 400. You go
Yeah.
on and on, like Vernon Norwood. That's a Tony McQuay. Tony McQuay, I'm a star 400-meter runner. I ran well in college. I'm good enough to finish top 6 in the 100 in the 400 at USA's, but I'm not
Yeah.
a LaShawn Merritt where I'm like the guy. So that's what I was going to say.
So this is the thing that you're
Are you a
saying that you said
LaShawn
didn't
Merritt
make
or are you a
sense.
Tony McQuay? Yeah.
So are you talking about this in terms of longevity or the height of their peak?
I'm talking about no, because height of no, I'm talking about just like longevity. Yeah,
Mhm.
longevity. I don't even know I'm talking about longevity or height. I'm just talking. I'm not talking about width or length. I'm just talking about are you a 400-meter runner that is like a four? Are you a 4x4 guy or are you a meddler? Are you a 4x4 guy or are you a meddler? Are all your medals from the 4x4 or all your medals from the individual 400?
Okay.
And like that's how you separate. That's how you separate it.
I mean, this isn't the craziest thing you said. I don't know why you're reluctant to say it.
Well, I was like, why
Um,
am I bringing up Tony McQuay in 2022? And I was like, all right, what? I don't need to use this analogy.
you're basically saying there's a group of. I mean, you and listen. This probably happens with a lot of different events, but we're just focusing on the 400 right now. There's the collegiate star, and you can make teams when you're in college in the 400. I don't know what someone can run the numbers on it, right? What's the event where the most collegians make the team? It's probably the quarter, number one, because you can get on the 4x4
Yeah.
pool. And number two, we just know 400-meter runners seem to hit their peak earlier than other runners. Maybe it's because they're just running a ton of 400s. Maybe it has to do with body type and development. I'm not 100% sure on that. So you're basically saying there's some that are going to hit that peak and never get back to it again, but be able to hang on long enough to make a couple teams. And there's going to be other people who really are still standouts in college, but they have a progression that's more in line with other athletes in other events where they're great at 20, but then they're somehow able to go a level up to 24. And then maybe even by 25 and 26, they're holding steady. That's what you're saying, kind of?
Not really. I'm just saying there's the 4x4 guy and the 400 guy.
Right. But I'm saying that the
And a
four
lot
by
of
four
times
guy,
we,
the 4x4 guy is created because the 44-1 guy doesn't improve. And the 44-1 looks great when you're 19 or whatever, or 20 in college, but the
yeah,
44-1, 44-2 isn't isn't gonna get you gold medal. Basically, I mean, maybe I should say probably
yeah,
44-5. I shouldn't be saying 44-1. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Versus
Yeah,
a
okay.
another guy who goes 44-1 in college or even 43 high or something, and then is able to keep ticking it down and ticking it down. That's what I'm
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it's just like we kind of are always infatuated by 400-meter runners because, like you said, a lot of them start young, right? They make teams young. Like Will
Yeah,
London made a team really young, and everyone's like, "Oh, Will London, is he the next Jeremy Warner from Baylor?" But Will London
yeah,
is now a 4x4 guy. He's a 4x4 guy. You
right.
know, Michael Cherry right now is the one guy who's like on the edge because he's always been a 4x4 guy. But then
Yeah,
this past year, he's been like straddling the fence, being like leaning, rocking back and forth between 4x4 guy and potential metal guy. And I
yeah.
was at the end of the year, I was starting to lean like maybe he's a metal guy, but
I think
he's
fourth at
on
the
the fence right
Olympics
now.
and I think fourth at the Olympics and Diamond League champ. I think you're pointing in that direction. But maybe he just
Yeah,
stays in the middle. Maybe he's the third
yeah,
guy.
he's a new category. He's the new
Maybe
category.
there's the McQuay, there's the Merritt, and then there's the Cherry.
I agree. I think
He's
that's
forged his
yeah.
own path. But like, what
It's
do you
the
do with someone?
MCM. It's MCM scale.
Yeah.
Are you a
Well,
Merritt?
like,
Are you a Cherry? Or are you a McQuay?
what's Norman?
So Norman, we thought was a Merritt. But
Yeah.
Norman is now becoming a cherry. Norman's becoming a cherry.
43-45 has an all-time mark, the collegiate record. Gets
He's
hurt in
becoming a cherry.
19, and then in 2021, um, not sure what happened, but ends up getting fifth in the final, and just looks after U.S. trials just looked beatable. And even at trials, he didn't have that performance that we thought he would have. I mean, 44 low, great time, but and did enough to win. But if you said after he ran that 43-45, what's Norman going to be clicking off? I think you would have said he's going to be, hitting a couple 43s every year.
Yeah. Norman's a cherry right now, but because of his age, I still think he has another shot at becoming a merit. I'm not willing to give up on him. He has another shot to become a merit, but right now he's a cherry.
Karani
I like
James,
this new scale I
definitely
created.
a merit. Karani James, definitely a
He's a
merit
merit.
because literally competed against LaShawn Merritt, getting medals. But that's the thing. The Merritts, the Karani Jameses, the Michael Johnsons, they're rare. The Allison Felix, Sonia Richards Ross, like that's rare in the quarter. Oftentimes you just
No.
see the people who we see them as great collegians, and then that's that. I want to talk about the 8 real quick. Ajay Wilson for the women, women's 8. There's no men's 8. There's a men's 15, but no men's 8. Wilson's a big favorite. She should win this. Charlene Lipsey's in there, Sammy Watson, but Wilson is the clear favorite. And I want to see what she can do outdoors after winning the world indoor title. Um, how big is that gap between her and Hodgkinson for second? Can she possibly cut that down? Can she stay within striking range to capitalize on any sort of mistakes up front? But she should win this race. I would anticipate her winning these races. There's a lot of these fields, Gordon, where it's like one big name who we expect to roll, and if they don't, it's not like they're going to get beaten by somebody who's like, no, that makes sense. I think people are going to be like, wait a minute, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? So in a way, there's
Yeah.
more pressure. There's more pressure on some of these athletes in these events because the field around them isn't as good that like they're expected to win. But I'm sure Wilson will take care of business.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Wilson season. I kind of underestimated her indoors. I didn't think she had it in her to get that gold. I didn't even think she was going to medal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but now that she did that, I'm sure that's going to boost her confidence. And you're going to need a lot of confidence in 2022 because she's going up against an potential all-timer in Thing Mo and on the other side of the ocean, a great
Yeah,
runner in Keely Hodgkinson.
yeah. All right, that's it. Enter the Pick'em contest. Email us,
Yes.
FloTrack Podcast. Comment, subscribe to the FloTrack Podcast YouTube channel. You got the QR code there. Hop in the pickup contest. If you think you're so smart, which some of you are, enter. Right? I think that's it. We'll leave it there. Thanks to Colt. Thanks to Travis. No music on the way out, so we'll just leave you with silence. Have a great weekend, everyone.